Hi, in this video I'll be going over the List Pages tab, your Tomahawk content management system. You can see it right here at the top of your website. Before I get into what everything else does, something new that we've added pretty much everywhere throughout our CMS is tooltips. So I'll go over everything in this video, or everything I can think of. But just to note, pretty much anything when you have a question about it, you just hover over it and tooltips will appear. So even like the special menu here, search box, for example. Just whenever you have a question about what something does, when you need to view it or edit it. So most everything should have tooltips. Some things might not. We're trying to get around to doing everything though. Most things should by now. Also, Modules tab, every module now you can hover over it and it'll have a tooltip that pops up and says, watch the video, or possibly other information. Alright, I'll get down to what all the buttons and functions do now. So the first one here is Add Page. Pretty straightforward, I suppose. Just add a new page to your content management system. I'll get into all this information in just a little bit, but essentially to add a new page, click the Add Page button. Next would be the search field. So the tooltip's popping up telling me what it is, but essentially if you have a small site, right, this site that I'm on currently, my test site, is fairly small, right? This is pretty much all the pages that are on the site currently. But if you have a 50-page site, or maybe hundreds of pages, you might want to use the search function instead of scrolling down and looking for that, contact us page. Where is it? Oh, there it is. But instead, it takes 20 minutes or something. So what you could do here is say, type in contact, click enter, and it brings up all pages that it found, in this case one, that have contact in either the page title or unique name. It doesn't actually search the content of the page though, so if I were to view the Contact Us page, it's not searching through this, like the text that's there. Only the title and unique URL, which can be found by editing it. This is right here. When you go to create a new page, you're prompted as well. But unique name and title. So that's what the search function looks for. Alright, we have this little drop down here. Essentially what it is it could just say page 1, page 2, but here it shows the pages as well. If you have a lot of pages on your CMS, this page won't just keep going and going and going, right? You'll have a really long scroll bar, right? At a certain point, say 20 pages or whatever it actually is, it'll cut off and then there'll be another page, page 2, 3, 4. And that's where if you're not going to use a search function, or there's a different function over here to get to pages, but if you're not going to use either of those and you're going to scroll down and find the page, then it might be on page 2 or 3, depending on how large your site is. So right here, I'll probably come back to this in a little bit because it kind of goes in with the special menu here, the legend. But it's just another way to get to pages on your website, right? So for example, I'll show you a little bit later how groups work, but I've set up some groups for some of my pages. So if I click on the products group, it comes up with the products page. The home group comes up with the home page. Something different, the quick links group actually has multiple pages associated with it, and pages can be in multiple different groups as well. But that's a way to get to your pages. As well, right here, there's archived, private, drafts, visible. The tooltip will show basically what they mean, but by that, it's visible is a function on your. You can see there's 14 matching pages. It's saying here, visible is a function in your page. So if I were to go to our products page here and go to settings, it's saying, is this page visible? Then if it shows up on the website, then obviously it is. But some pages, when you're first creating them, by default, they are not visible until you go into the settings area and make them visible. And how this relates to the special here, menu or legend. Right here, I can tell that this page is not visible. That's basically the draft or not visible button. That's what that one stands for. Drafts, they're actually, visible is pages that are visible on your website. Drafts are the ones that are not visible. So this, is a draft. And if I were to select it, you'll see that that's the only page that shows up. Essentially, that means if someone goes to this page, they're not going to see it until I go into the settings and say, yes, that page is now visible. Save changes. And now that page is no longer going to show under the drafts area. You can see it's telling me 0 matches. And you'll see Facebook right here no longer has the drafts button. Private, if you have password protected, or the, I believe, members module, you can password protect your pages, and in turn making them private. And the corresponding button over here to show you just what's going on the page would be the key. None of my pages are currently password protected because I don't have that module on this website. But if you did, it would say, it would light up the key and say this is a password protected page. And I'll get into the settings where you actually change that in a little bit. And archived pages, you can see I actually have one here. They're essentially right here, this little, I guess you could say trash can button. You can see when I hover over most of my pages, it says I can move to trash, right? This testing page that is already in the trash, however, I can't move to the trash because it's in there. Basically, it's just a way, by accident you click move to trash, that your photo gallery page gets moved to the trash, right? Well, you can still restore it, which is right here, right? Or by then it's basically like a fail safe, right? It's giving you another chance. Are you really sure you want to remove this page? And at this point you say, yes, I definitely don't want that page, and now testing page is gone. It's gone off my website. If I clicked purge, it would have created it back to like a normal page, just like these, where I can edit and view them and, move them to trash again if I needed to. So this button right here, it's not up here. It's redirect pages, and essentially what that means is when someone goes to this page, we've actually set it up to go somewhere else on the internet, to some other URL or link, right? I'll go to this page to show you as an example, but the URL link could be Google or ask.com, or it could be another page on your website, or maybe it goes to a PDF. For instance, on tomahawk.ca we have under quick links webmail, or like right here, webmail, and it actually goes to another website we have, mail.tomahawk.ca. And again, to get those, you can usually just go, say you want to go to the home page, you can just copy the URL right up there, right, and paste it in. But to show you what the webmail page is currently doing, if I view my site, here's the webmail page. If I click it, I'm brought to a different website, right? So that's why the redirect right here, that's where it's specified. I'll get into that in just a little bit as well. Or actually, I guess to show you the redirect, if I were to go to a normal page, like my home page here, redirect was not selected. You'll see I actually have text and pictures that I can go ahead and edit or add different things in. But if I go back to the webmail one, I don't have any of that because it's a redirect. If I click content, I could then have text or anything else to put in there, but currently it's a redirect page. So basically our editor is saying, well, there's no reason for you to have text or images on this page, because as soon as someone is directed to this page, whether it's in your menu like it is on my website, or it's linked to somewhere else in your website, as soon as they go there, they're going to be redirected somewhere else, so they're never going to see that text or pictures that you have in the content. So that's why the redirect is there. So just to refresh my page here. The last one, only one page would have it at a time. This is a little house icon. Essentially means this is your home page, and that's where my home page is called home as well. Could be called something different, obviously, but you'll see what every other page here. I can set the form builder page to set as home page, right? But I can't do that for the home page because it is the home page currently. This is the first page that people see when they go to demo1.ttclients.ca, or in your case, whatever .com, .ca, .net, whatever your website happens to be. So that's basically special. Updated just the last time that someone's been on that page. Maybe they changed just a little bit of text or a whole bunch of stuff, and then click Save Changes. It's going to update the updated category right here, or column. So that's pretty much the special or legend area. Again, everything's tooltipped. So right here, it goes by page title and unique name, so it's showing you your pages, right? You can hover over, again, everything's tooltipped. Edit is for you to actually go into the page and change the pictures and content and settings. We'll get into that in just a little bit. View, if I click it, it just shows you what that page looks like, right? If someone were to go to it on the public side. Move to trash, we went over that somewhat with the testing page a little while ago. If I click that, the About Us page would now be set, the trash icon would show up, and then I could go and purge it from the system to completely get rid of it. Or, I could keep it there and restore it at a later date if I wanted to. To keep in mind, though, trashed pages do count against your total, so depending on how many pages you're allowed with your CMS, like currently it's 50, now 20 for this test domain, but, if you want to get rid or make more room, then you would want to delete any trash pages. So yeah, edit, view, move to trash, and set as home page. If I clicked it, then the home would go to the About Us page. I suppose right here, the little buttons here, if you click this top one, it'll check everything, right? But essentially, you could go through and check just the Facebook and just the Contact Us page. Where this comes in handy is at the bottom here. This is a new function. We've added bulk actions. And hide, show, delete, restore, purge. Essentially, it's a way, instead of, say you want to make a whole bunch of pages visible at the same time. All these pages are currently visible, right? But maybe you have a whole bunch that are not visible. Instead of having to go in to say that this page and click here and visible, and then save your changes and go back to the list pages area and do the same thing 5 other times, you could just check all those different pages, right? And then say make them show all of them or make them all visible, kind of thing. And you just click apply. And again, that's tooltipped with everything as well. I believe that's everything on this specific page. Now I'm actually going to go in and edit one of my pages. So I'll go on the About Us page here. So I'll go over these tabs in just a little bit, but starting here, this is where we had the content or redirect, right? Redirect was, I could click it and then this editor would disappear and it would say, where do you want the page to go to? Unique name, this is what shows up on the page itself. So if I click View Live here, it's right here, it's up in the top. And our system will actually check and see like if it's a valid character. So you'll see here, I tried to put a space and it said no, those characters are not valid because it's in the URL. So you want to stay away from things like special characters, question marks, percent signs, money signs, any kind of special characters. What would be fine up there is any kind of numbers, capitals, capital letters, lowercase letters, underscores, dashes, that kind of stuff. But you want to stay away from pretty much everything else in the URL at least. The page title is basically, you want to have it there because it's going to be, in the list pages area for you to know what those pages are about instead of having to click edit and go in and see exactly what they are. It also shows up in the tab right up here, so about space us, that's where the page title is. And also sometimes you can always change it, but with like the menu builder, when you're creating your menu, that's actually a module. When you first add it, it'll probably use the page title, put it in there as like a placeholder because it wouldn't be as good to put the URL. If you're wondering how to use the editor, any of these buttons here, even the save changes and stuff like that, that's actually in a different video. It's called the CK Editor video. It's basically I go over all these buttons, what everything does in great detail. But that's not in this video currently. Alright, so going to the other tab here, SEO. This has SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And essentially what that is trying to get your website ranked high on Google or Yahoo or Bing or any other popular search engine or any search engine. And essentially, everything's tooltipped again. This one even has a link. So for the keywords, if you're wondering, oh, what the heck does that do? You click it, it brings you to a different area on your website in a different tab, right? I still have it open over here. But brings you over here and you can read about, how Google does its rankings, what exactly are keywords. You have this PDF right here, which opens up. It's quite actually a good PDF to read sometimes if you're very interested in getting up there for your website ranked for certain terms, right, on Google, for example. Keywords, essentially, they're terms that you want your website to show up on Google when people type them in. So for Tomahawk Technologies, right, we do websites, design, stuff like that. We might want like Tomahawk Technologies, obviously our company name. Then we put like a comma, Ottawa Web Design, comma, and that's how keywords are separated. You put in whatever ones that you're looking for. The description, search engines do use this as well. Basically, a description is usually shown on Google where, say someone searches for the About Us page, right? About a Tomahawk or the Tomahawk Contact Us page. Whatever the description for that Contact Us page is, it's not shown on here, right? It's in the background. Google could see it. It's going to show up on Google with, Google has the link, the normal blue, and then a description underneath to show you, oh, does that page actually sound like what I'm looking for, kind of thing. And description isn't as robotic as keywords. It's not, term, comma, whatever, comma. Just basically describe the content, right? This is the content of the page as if you're describing it to a human, I suppose. That's who's going to be seeing it, really. So going to the settings area here, we've already went over this a little bit, but page visible, if it wasn't visible, 99% of the time you would want it visible, but instead of having like an under construction page, you're creating a new page and you really do not want people going to it. That's where you can make sure that, no, I do not want this page visible. So if they somehow, know the exact URL to type in here to get to that page, they're still not going to be able to see it. The CMS can, page, there's no page, no such a page. Splash page, that's pretty easy. The simplest thing to show it, I guess, is currently if I go to my About Us page, this is my About Us page, right? If I were to say splash page, click Save Changes, and I'll go here and refresh. See, it's quite a big difference. Essentially what a splash page is, when you check it in the CMS, it gets rid of the template. So the template is pretty much the menus, the header, slideshow up here, the sidebars, the content color here and everything, and it just shows a plain page with your site's background. So in this case, my site's background is blue. Yours would obviously probably be different. And Sometimes for splash pages, you'll see with sites, maybe it's the privacy policy, it's just a white page with a bunch of text on it, right, like all the legal stuff and everything else. Or some websites you go to them, maybe they're French and English, so you don't see their menus at first. You go to it, and then it has you know, a picture, maybe their logo, and it says English or French. You click, you know, English, it brings you into the English side of their website, so that's a splash page as well. But in this case, I don't want it to be a splash page, so I'll click Save Changes here. Go back to my About Us page, and you'll see it's changed back. So if I go into Settings again, if you have the Member Access module, you can password protect your pages. Right? This is where we're talking about how they show up in the legend there as well. In this case, I don't have it on my website, but if you did, you click Yes, and essentially that means if someone goes to this page, whether it's linked to on the menu or not, they're going to be asked for a username and password, and you can control that information in the Member Access area or Group Access. Page layout. Currently on my website I only have one. But you'll see here it actually links me to the appropriate area to go to as well to create it. But essentially a page layout is, there's a module in the Modules tab right here. It's called Site Layout, and that's where it's linking me. And that module controls the header image. Well, not the specific images, but where it shows up. So the header image is currently the first item. The second item is this menu. Third item is this scroll bar. They basically, I'll think of them as little chunks or, you know, squares that would go in there. Sidebar menus are actually not controlled in there, but the layout, the main layout at the top here, and also the layouts at the bottom, you can't really see anything on this website, but there's a footer layout. That can also be controlled in the Site Layout module. But essentially, if you go to the Site Layout module, you create a new layout, About Us page could have a completely different layout than the home page if you wanted to. So say if I did create one and I went to the About Us page, maybe now there's a menu at the top and at the bottom, and there's no scroll bar. That's where you can control it. You go create it in the Site Layout module, and whatever name you give it will then show up under this drop-down. You select it and save changes, and that'll change the About Us page appropriately. So page groups. Easiest way to say it, I guess, is essentially page groups is just a way to organize your pages. Again, like I was saying in the list pages area, if you have a small site, you could just scroll down and click Edit, or maybe even just use the search feature. But we found that, you know, page groups are quite useful, and essentially that's where it was controlled. So if I go into About Us here, Settings, so page groups. Pages can be part of multiple groups. Pages and group names can be completely different. It's just easy ways to get to those pages that you want to edit, right? So just to go back at what I was showing here. So for the quick links, right, I associated these 4 pages with the quick links group that I created because the 4 pages happen to show up here. Just like all these module pages, right, I've already gone through and edited them and associated them with the modules group right here. And to show you an example, there's no sidebar group right now, right? Say for whatever reason I did want a sidebar group. I wanted these pages. I wanted easy access to them so I could just from now on go here and click sidebar, and then it shows those pages. What I would do in that case is first I'll look at all pages. And for this example, let's just pretend About Us and Home is part of the sidebar, because I could go through the other ones, but it'd just be the exact same thing. So I want to find the home page in this example. So there's Home. Again, I could type it in the search. So if I go to Settings here, we'll see the home page is part of the home group. That's fine. And now I'm going to make a part of a new group called Sidebar. Oh, and by the way, if I go back here, these are actually groups that are already created on the website, right? The one I'm creating is a new one. Sidebar doesn't currently exist, so I'm going to actually manually type it in and click Enter. But here are groups that actually already exist on this website, so you could, you know, click it again. You'll see that in a second when I do the About Us page. But I'll create a new group, Sidebar. Now the home page is part of the home group and the sidebar group. I'll save my changes and return to menu. And now I'm going to go to the About Us page. I'm going to do the same thing essentially. But this time, sidebar shows up as a group. About Us is part of About Us group and sidebar. Now, you see that sidebar is now an actual group. And if I click it, it brings up those 2 pages. And those 2 pages, again, can be part of their own groups as well. It's just different ways to label or group your pages so it's easier to get to the ones that you want to actually edit. I believe that's probably everything. Let me just go in here. Oh, page history, yes. Let me just go to the About Us page here. So we've already gone over the Settings tab. Page history, essentially it's backups of your or of the specific page that you're editing. There's tooltips, of course, for everything as well. But what it does is, for this About Us page, essentially every time I do a change to it and then save my changes, it saves a backup of what my page looked like before I saved the changes, up to a total of 5, right? And that's where I have the 5 right here. There's a keep functionality let's get to in a second here, but essentially, to show you how this could be useful is, you know, fill in whatever. Maybe you do a bunch of changes, it changes, someone goes in there and changes stuff, but you didn't like how they did it. Who knows? I'll save my changes here. The About Us page is now completely empty, right? Now, theoretically, this could be 2 weeks down the road, as long as someone hasn't saved over 5 times, right? So if I go to the About Us page, it's empty, right? If I go to page history, currently I know I'm in this is the current copy I'm in, which basically is this, what I don't want. So then what I can do here is I could load or delete an older copy, right? Essentially what I'm going to want to do is, this is my newest copy. Right here I'm going to preview it and see, well, what is on that page? Oh, okay, that's exactly what I'm looking for, you know, just as an example. So then I'm going to go ahead and preview, or sorry, I just previewed it. I'm going to load that page. So, you know, are you sure? Yes, I do want to load that page. See here, it loaded all that information. I'm going to click Save Changes. And that's essentially a page history, so it just keeps, you know, older copies. It's kind of like a backup or a failsafe. The keep functionality here, essentially, right, we have, you know, you're allowed 5 backups or copies of the page. And once you get above 5, then when you click Save Changes, the oldest, the 5th, you know, the oldest copy is going to get overwritten with the newest, and so on and so forth. Keeps going. Well, say for whatever reason, maybe you really like how this page, you know, a certain page looks, or maybe you have a seasonal event, right, that happens around Christmas every year, or whatever. If you want to keep whatever the About Us page looks like, in this case it looks the exact same, but pretend it looked different. If I wanted to keep that copy, I could say, yeah, like in here, keep, change it to yes. And essentially what that means is, and I have 2 yes pages here, it will never overwrite this page. You can still go in and change your content and then click Save Changes, but whatever is in this preview, if it was different, right, just like a Christmas event, that won't get overwritten once it becomes the 5th oldest, right? So then now in theory I only have 3 backups that are always, you know, once I save changes, this one gets overwritten with the newest one, and so forth, so on. But that's what the keep functionality does. And then the date archived, I've been doing a lot of changes on this page today, so it's today for this page, but essentially it would show you the dates when the page was archived, when the changes were saved, is what it means. That's everything. I guess just to go over these couple buttons here, they are probably talked about in the Seek Editor video, but Save and Return to Menu will save whatever changes I do in here and bring me back to the List Pages area. Save Changes will save the changes I do in here, but keep me in this page. Reset Content and Cancel, so say you're, you know, doing a bunch of changes or whatever. If you click Reset Content, it'll bring me back to before I never save my changes there, so it'll bring me back to the newest copy of that page. Cancel does the exact same thing, except brings me back to the List Pages area as well. Preview is fairly handy. So pretend this is our home page, right, or just a page you want to make sure it looks right. You'll see I just pasted this text up here. If I were to click View Live, this is what my page currently looks like. It doesn't look like this because I haven't saved my changes yet. So Preview, basically, it allows you to view the page, if I click Preview here, what it looks like in the editor, right, without having to commit to those changes just yet. So then you could, pretend there's links on here. You could click the links and see, oh, yes, that one works. Oh, why is that one? Okay, well, I'm going to have to go in the editor and see why that's not working, or, well, it doesn't really look as good as I thought. I'm going to change that. So that's where the preview functionality comes in versus View Live. And that is the List Pages video. Thanks for watching. Bye.